Hello human beings, Power Gamer here, and I just got back from raiding an ancient temple. Unfortunately, the only thing they had was a bag of sand. There has to be some way I can find ancient treasures. I've got it! Something feels wrong here.
Uncharted, a series known by many and beloved by many. One of the most popular franchises Sony has ever released, and while the first entry isn't the most popular game in the series, the game was developed by Naughty Dog, who had previously made PlayStation franchises like Crash Bandicoot and Jak and Daxter. After finishing Jak 3, the company assembled their most technically talented staff members to begin working on the project Big. The project was intended to create a brand new IP and take full advantage of the PS3's hardware. The style was inspired by various adventure movies like Indiana Jones and National Treasure, with the gameplay taking heavy inspiration from games like Tomb Raider and Resident Evil 4. The game was first unveiled at E3 2006, and after a development process of about 2 years, it was fully released on November 19th, 2007 for the PS3 in North America, with Australia and Europe getting the game a few weeks later. It received a decent amount of praise both when it was revealed and when it was released. It also sold quite well, selling over 4.8 million copies worldwide. The success of the game led to 2 more entries being released for the PS3, a 4th entry released for the PS4, and 2 side games released for the PS4 and PS Vita. The original trilogy would later be remastered for the PS4 as the Nathan Drake Collection.
Which is how I'm going to be playing it, since it's basically the same game but with better graphics and a higher frame rate. I've never played an Uncharted game before, but with the recent release of the Uncharted movie, I thought it was time I finally see what I've been missing.
The game follows Nathan Drake, an explorer who's currently on a sea expedition with a reporter named Elena Fisher. The two recover the supposed coffin of Francis Drake, one of Nathan's ancestors, and he finds a diary inside before they're attacked by pirates. They fight them off before being saved by Nathan's friend and mentor, Sully. After reaching the mainland, Nathan and Sully leave Elena behind on a dock and go off to find the city of El Dorado. Once there, they find a map that will supposedly lead to an ancient statue stolen by the Spaniards. Unfortunately, they're confronted by Gabriel Roman, a criminal Sully owes money to. Gabriel forces Nate to hand over the map, shoots Sully, and almost kills Nate before he runs off and finds Elena.
Don't ask how she got there.
Nate and Elena escape and head off to the island where the statue is in hopes of finding it before Gabriel does. The story's nothing groundbreaking, but it's not really supposed to be. It's just a fun, lighthearted adventure, and I like that. If you're someone who's not a fan of story-based games, this probably isn't the game for you, since there's a lot of cutscenes and dialogue. That's not a problem for me, though. It certainly helps that Nathan and Elena are very likable characters, and everyone else is enjoyable too. This game has great voice acting, and the writing is also really good. It made me laugh a decent amount of times.
Die now, or help you, and die later. Oh, it's a tough call, but you know what? I'll take die now. Damn. Ah! I did not see that!
Don't worry about it. We can argue about it later. It'll be great.
We either rescue him, or we beat the crap out of him. Hell, I might just beat the crap out of him anyway. Man only interested in the climax.
Oh my.
The graphics are also really impressive, and the remaster makes it look even better. These landscapes look absolutely gorgeous. I'm not a fan of when it goes dark, though, because it can be really hard to see. No joke, I spent a good 10 minutes swimming around this room because I couldn't see these ledges. There's not too much music when you're exploring. It mostly pops up during the action sequences, and when it does, it's really good. One of my favorite things about this game, though, is the varied camera angles. It really helps the game feel more grand and cinematic, like you're playing a movie, only here the heroes are actually affected when they're next to an explosion. There's 2 main types of gameplay, exploration sequences and action sequences. Exploration typically involves platforming and solving puzzles. The puzzles can range from finding certain objects, activating doors and switches, or just figuring out how to get up a wall. Most of the puzzles are fairly easy, but some of them can be pretty annoying. Occasionally you get hints like Elena telling you what to do, or you have to use a clue from Francis Drake's diary, but for the most part you're on your own. And even some of the hints you get aren't very helpful. This one here is the worst. I, for the life of me, could not figure this out. I had to look it up online. Other than that, the puzzles are pretty simple. The platforming is a mix between jumping, climbing, and swinging. Nathan must have been a monkey before he took up treasure hunting because he can climb almost anything as long as there's a small ridge. He can also hop from ledge to ledge like it's nothing. I guess becoming a treasure hunter gives you superhuman abilities. The only issues I have with platforming are that the jumping can be a bit delayed and the distance of how far you can jump while climbing is a little inconsistent. Other than that, it's really fun. It's probably my favorite thing in the game. During action sequences, the game becomes a third-person shooter. You either find guns just lying on the ground, or you get them from defeated enemies. There's a large number of weapons you can find. Pistols, revolvers, semi-automatics, shotguns, sniper rifles, and even fricking rocket launchers. The types of guns all have various qualities, giving them their own strengths and weaknesses. Pistols are standard, semi-automatics are faster but do less damage, revolvers and shotguns are slower but stronger, sniper rifles are more accurate and kill instantly but have less ammo, and rocket launchers cause explosions but are really slow and have the least amount of ammo of all the weapons. You can also find grenades to throw at enemies. You can only carry 2 guns at a time, a small one and a big one. Since they all have limited ammo, you need to decide what the right one to use is in whatever situation you're in. If you have a favorite weapon, you could hold on to it for as long as possible, but eventually you will need to use whatever you have access to, or more specifically, whatever weapons the enemies around you are using. Most of the combat sections require you to take cover and just peek out, taking out the enemies one by one. You may need to move to another spot if enemies come from behind you, or throw a grenade at you. Sometimes it's simple, but other times they'll be all over the place and you need to move quickly. If you're near an explosion, you get this awful ringing. Enemies can also take cover, and you have to either wait for them to pop out or find an exposed part of their body. Some enemies can even use turrets. If you're close to an enemy or run out of ammo, you can also engage in some hand-to-hand combat. You just need to hit them about 3 or 4 times. Punching enemies isn't always the best way to deal with them, but it can be effective. You can also do a brutal combo where you hit the right buttons at the right time. If you pull it off correctly, the enemy drops twice as much ammo as it normally would. When you take damage, the screen starts to turn gray, and if you take too much, you die. Your health regenerates over time, so if you start to run low, you need to find a good hiding spot and just wait. Most enemies give you a decent amount of time to escape, but ones with rocket launchers and sniper rifles kill you instantly. The combat isn't amazing, but it can be pretty fun. It can also get really intense, especially moments where there's tons of enemies to deal with.
Honestly, I'm just wondering where they all came from.
You fight hundreds of enemies in this game, and remember, it mostly takes place on a single island. Where did Gabriel get all these people? Did he place a wanted ad or something?
And I think Nate's gonna get PTSD from this.
He must have a higher body count than most war veterans. If I had to criticize anything about this game, it would probably be the controls. They're not bad, but a lot of actions are on the same button, which can cause some problems. I had moments where I tried to dodge only to duck behind cover, and moments where I tried to pick up ammo only to end up swapping weapons, which was a problem because the weapon I swapped to had no ammo. Another issue I had is that I wound up getting lost a decent amount of times. That could be just because I'm an idiot, but there were many moments where I had no idea where I was supposed to go, either because I kept going the wrong way, or because it was so dark I could barely see anything. And it can be pretty hard to tell what you can and can't grab onto, especially in the dark. Did I mention I don't like it when this game goes dark? Because I don't. There's also a few moments where the game throws quick time events at you, meaning you have to press the right button at the right time. In most games I don't mind these, but they're kind of annoying here since they come out of nowhere and the timing can be really strict.
I hit the button. Why did I die?
There's even a couple of vehicle sections. First you have to ride in a jeep and man this turret, which can also fire grenades, and then there's 2 jet ski missions. Here you control both Nate and Elena, as Nate drives and Elena shoots. Her weapons have unlimited ammo. I don't know why, but I'm not going to complain. You manually have to attack enemies and shoot these exploding barrels because driving into one kills you instantly. That's another question I have. Where did Gabriel get all these exploding barrels? As you progress through the game, you can get a number of collectibles. There's 60 different treasures you can find. They're just an image and you don't get anything for finding them, at least that I know of, but they are a decent motivator to explore as much as possible. You can also unlock alternate costumes for Nate to wear. And if you beat the game, you can unlock new weapons for later playthroughs, which I think is cool since it gives some replayability. The original game also had an online multiplayer mode, but that's not in the collection, so I can't play it. Once Nate and Elena reach the island, their plane is shot down and they wind up separated. Nate manages to get the map and finds Elena inside this ancient temple where he gets captured by an old enemy of his named Eddie Raja. Elena saves him and they flee in a jeep. Nathan decides he wants to leave the island, so the 2 of them hop on a jet ski while using a rocket launcher to blow up anything in their path.
Because why not?
They wind up in an old customs house where they find more information on the statue. They also discover that Sully is still alive and apparently helping Gabriel.
What's a twist?
They hop on another jet ski and head upstream, no rocket launcher this time, just a pistol, where they find Sully, and he tells them the diary blocked the bullet, and he's only pretending to help Gabriel by sending him on a wild goose chase. They find an underground library by solving this puzzle that, like I said before, is way harder than it needs to be. Seriously, how are people supposed to figure this out? Nate goes in a tunnel while Elena and Sully stay behind in the library. While searching through the tunnels, Nate overhears that Gabriel hired Eddie and his crew to help him find the statue, but now Gabriel's fed up and fires Eddie. Nate and Elena regroup and find a passage leading to an ancient treasure vault. After this overly complicated sequence, they find Francis Drake's body and believe he died searching for the treasure. In the heart of the vault, they find Eddie and are attacked by these unholy abominations.
Well, he's dead.
Nate fights them off, and the two escape only to wind up in an abandoned German bunker. They think turning on the bunker's generator will help them escape, so Nate goes to turn it on. He does so and gets ambushed by abominations. Lots of abominations. Way too many abominations. Seriously, these things are freaking everywhere, and it's so dark you can barely see them. They are easily the worst enemies in the game. They're insanely fast and can kill you in only 2 hits. They are awful, and I hate them. Nate finds a lost page of Francis Drake's diary and discovers that the statue is cursed. It transforms people into abominations, so Francis Drake sacrificed himself to make sure the statue would never leave the island due to the danger it could cause. Nate makes his way back, only to find Elena's been captured. He escapes the bunker and reunites with Sully. The two make their way to this church, where they find Gabriel and his gang taking the statue. Then Gabriel's assistant, Navarro, tells him to open the statue, which curses him, turning him into an abomination, which Navarro then kills.
Navarro has actually been around since we met Gabriel. I just never felt the need to mention him, because he literally doesn't come into the plot at all until right now.
Navarro then tries to steal the statue, but Nate chases after him and winds up on his boat, leading to the final boss, if you can even call it that.
Here's how the final section goes.
Kill these 3 enemies and avoid the sniper you literally can't kill, grab some ammo, kill more enemies while avoiding the sniper, quick time event dodge this crate, kill enemies while avoiding the sniper again, reach Navarro, avoid his gunshots while moving to other cover spots, run up to him, quick time events, run up to him again, quick time events, and he's down. Nate gets Elena out of the crashed helicopter on the side of the boat and shoves it off the edge, sending both the statue and Navarro into the water. Nate and Elena share a moment before Sully shows up and reveals a bunch of treasure he got from some dead pirates. The 3 of them all leave the island, and that's the end of the game.
Uncharted is a solid game. While it has the occasional issue, and the other games in the series are probably better, it's still a fun time. If you've never played it before, I think you should give it a shot. And if you have, maybe give it a revisit. I just really wish it didn't have all those moments where it goes dark. Does anyone actually like it when that stuff happens? Ah, crap.